Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Fireside chat. Hello, Mark. Good to see you here. So we
Hi,
can get
Afrozy.
started. Yeah, so we can get started. Hello, I am Afrozy Ara. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LuminaData, and this is the second episode in our Fireside chat series on the future of finance, where we explore the technology trends reshaping the CFO tech stack. And today's conversation is with the focus of AI adoption in the enterprise. And I'm super excited to have Mark Flournoy in the conversation. Mark is the Chief Accounting Officer at RealPage, has incredible experience in digital transformation on the enterprise side, and would love to hear from your experience, Mark. So let's start with introductions. Mark, would love to hear about you.
Yeah, great. Well, welcome everybody, and it's great to have you here talking about AI and automation capabilities. My name's Mark Flournoy. I'm the Chief Accounting Officer at RealPage. I'm with a company a company that's in the SaaS enterprise SaaS service business, primarily providing software to property management companies across the United States. So cloud services, back office cloud services, front office cloud services that helps property management companies and real estate owners manage their properties. I've been here about a year. Prior to that, I was with Google Cloud for a couple of years as their controller of their business unit. And then prior to that, I was with Intuit for 19 years, where I was the chief accounting officer there for about 8, 9 years prior to leaving and going to Google. I've been in the tech space for 20 plus years, been a big proponent of transformation and figuring out how finance can continue to evolve and not just be scorekeepers or back office G&A costs, but really how do we actually step in and become more of a more of a value add partner to the business, providing insights, being a thought partner to how the business can grow and how the company can grow. And as part of that journey, I've been focused on how do we optimize and elevate our skills in ways that leverage technology. And when I was at Intuit, we started very early on. This was probably on 10 years ago. We started with Automation Anywhere using RPA as a capability and went across
Mm-hmm.
the finance spectrum, really helping figure out how do we move people out of transactional activity and automate those capabilities with the AI capabilities that are coming on. It really now takes that opportunity to think about automation, transformation in a whole new way, because not only do you get I'll call it the RPA kind of functionality, but now you get it with intelligence, with the thought partner, with assistance. And so I've been very much focused on how do I learn more and more about the AI capabilities within finance, and
Mm-hmm.
became aware of Afrozy and DP's application, and I'm using LuminaData now to leverage AI capabilities across many different scenarios of reconciliations of data, getting people now and getting this activity again more efficient, more accurate, and ultimately getting folks to be able to look at insights and analytics versus just crunching data and doing data mining.
Thank you, Mark. What an incredible experience you have, like across seeing so many stages of technology evolution. So it's amazing to hear the stories of, the RPA and then this new AI tech coming in. I wanted to kick us off with this headline news that's been on social media lately, making waves. So this new report by MIT that was released in August 2025, just last month, that was talking about this glaring statistics. 95% of AI implementations are failing, and that's like a staggering number. So would love to hear your perspective on this finding, and what do you interpret it from a finance leader's perspective?
Well, I think it's an interesting article, and I think it's relevant for the fact that AI is new and starting to come into the enterprise space, both from
Mm-hmm.
not only finance but other operational areas where it can be
Mm-hmm.
impactful. I think many companies still are scared of the capabilities. One, I think there's high focus especially if you're in the cloud service business. There's a big focus on security and
Mm-hmm.
privacy, protecting customer data, protecting their proprietary software, proprietary data. That's a big
Mm-hmm.
focus. Then I think another focus is around, oh my gosh, AI is going to take away jobs, right? And remove people from doing their work. And so there's a lot of people being kind of falsely providing, receiving information that this AI is going to take away my job and I'm not going to have a job. And pretty soon AI will be doing everything for us. And that's really not the case. And so I think that and another hurdle I think is also as you bring in AI, especially in the finance space, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
pushback on from companies in regards to, well, we can do things with our own AI capabilities. We can build things
Mm-hmm.
out ourselves. It's more secure. They're a little bit scared of again, utilizing a third party provider in
Mm-hmm.
regards to those. So you have to get through a lot of hurdles that get through your InfoSec
Mm-hmm.
reviews and your legal reviews to get some of these partners onboarded.
Yeah, yeah, that fear of AI, I think, is probably the biggest factor. It's interesting. It's like a combination of a fear and excitement, so people get excited, wow, it can do so many things, but then they're also like, but gosh, it's going to take away my job. That kind of like, there's kind of like a sense of duality with the way we face AI. And you're absolutely right. I think concerns about security, about accuracy are big things that we also see with our clients. So my next question, Mark, would be like, given all of these challenges and then given, where AI is, I think I have a two-part question. I think the first part is like concerns on the technology side. Do you see things breaking when AI is used in the enterprise, or do you see some challenges on the technology side? And then the second part of my question would be, how do we really build trust in AI from our workforce and have people start really using and adopting it? So any best practices that you have used within your organization or you've seen in the past?
So I believe AI capabilities are absolutely going to be required, needed, and will be extremely beneficial for finance professionals. You have to have an advocate and gain advocacy within the organization first. And that's about kind of talking about the benefits, talking about the capabilities, which are really around not taking away jobs, but really around building and allowing folks to start growing their skills in a different way, right? We don't want we pull you out of doing certain day-to-day mundane certain activities and start to move you into areas where you can now start providing insights, doing analytics,
Mm-hmm.
start understanding more about how the business functions and how you can help support the business. Under
Mm-hmm.
getting folks from a change management perspective is really critical. Now, as it relates to the technology itself, I have not seen dramatic issues in comparison to when I was implementing RPA or even just going to tools like Alteryx or even macros within Excel, where you're
Mm-hmm.
building out macro Excel documents. Actually, if you think about finance's best friend, which is typically Excel or Google Sheets, if you're a Google user, those have the opportunity, although they're very flexible and they can be used in a very quick and easy way, they have a tendency to have a lot of errors in it because of how manual the configuration and the manipulation of the data is within that. But with the AI capabilities, once you've gone through the initial phases of building it, testing it, making sure it's valid, the hardening of the technology and the output is way more accurate and it's way more efficient than using Excel or traditional access databases or some of these other solutions. And I think that's where, you have to start slow. You have to identify certain scenarios that you believe you can prove and start building credibility, because it's about building credibility not only for you driving the program, but it's building credibility for IT, building credibility for the actual user of the tool who's actually
Mm-hmm.
using it, getting them comfortable, just like with any technology.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mark. And I do think like, I think especially on the finance side, we have been so used to seeing this whole story of AI from like, it will write an email for you, it will write a poem, a song for you. So it's very hard for us to imagine it doing like the number crunching and getting the accuracy. I think maybe that might be something that kind of holds people back. But if it is purpose built for finance, if it is built with the controls and if it is built with the checks for accuracy and it's tested and you have proof tested it, I guess those are some of the key criteria for making sure that it works in that space.
And absolutely. And if you're trying to get through your auditor's point of perspective, your auditors are starting to embrace it. The Big Four understands they're actually starting to use it themselves within their own audit functions and own audit capabilities. So the ability to act now and start building in using the tool, testing the capability. I think it's important for third-party vendors to get SOC certified. I think that's kind of the staple for auditors when they come in for third-party SaaS solutions. They always ask, okay, do we have a SOC report? Is it a clean one? Those are important. But I think also as you move from, let's say, utilizing Excel for many of your activities to an AI tool, it's just about how do you test and validate against kind of your current process. And I think, Afrozy, like you and Deepti have done with us, we found out that our current Excel documents are broken in some cases. And we flushed out errors when we thought these solutions that we had built were actually working. We were
Mm-hmm.
able to uncover and right size and fix things. So there was just massive opportunities of improvement and efficiency that you get as a result of better accuracy too.
Thank you so much for the shout out, Mark. Means a lot to us. Appreciate that. And Deepti will also be super happy to hear. Thank you so much. I mean, I would love to hear about your experience implementing AI in at RealPage and would love to hear what are some of the use cases pursued, what were the learnings, and how your experience was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll start real earlier with a little bit of AI. It wasn't with LuminaData, but it was another AI tool where we were using it at Google Cloud. And it was very helpful when we were in Google Cloud as an enterprise SaaS solution in the kind of the being able to actually take executed contracts, which are in PDF, being able to make sure that you're accounting and financially reporting on those contracts in an
Mm-hmm.
efficient way. We had a process where we had to actually manually read the agreements and
Mm-hmm.
then and the components of the agreement into Google Sheets and then
Mm-hmm.
build out formulas and calculations of that. And we built out using AI at Google Cloud, we built out a solution that would essentially read from the PDFs, extract information from the PDFs, put that information into the Google Sheets, and ultimately start to automate the process of reviewing the contracts, extracting the information, and then allowing us to ultimately do the accounting and financial reporting in Google Sheets in a much more fast but much more accurate way. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the one activity that we did at Google Cloud that was very effective, very accurate, and also very efficient. At RealPage, since I've been here, I've been immediately working on how do we actually begin to leverage AI to help us transform the back office function. So RealPage is a privately held company owned by Thoma Bravo. It was public at one point, but it's about 2 billion in revenue, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very highly fragmented company. It's been built by 60 plus acquisitions, many of which were not integrated. So we have up to 19 different ERP systems. And
Mm-hmm.
we also are a fairly large fintech company pushing hundreds of billions of dollars through the pipes of fintech. And so because of the infrastructure, because of the lack of integration, and in many cases, the infrastructure of the enterprise systems being so old, we just recently went with Oracle Fusion, but we were on a enterprise software system for ERP called Epicor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what Epicor was until I got to RealPage. But right now, what I'm using LuminaData for, which has been extremely helpful, is much of the reconciliation and review of pulling data from multiple systems, from multiple ERP systems, multiple fintech systems, money movement engines, and actually being able to pull that information in from highly complex Excel areas or even just feeds of data, being able to use LuminaData to help normalize the data, put it into appropriate structured data files and data sets that allow us then to automate the matching and reconciliation of the activity in a way that then gets through massive amounts of highly manual reconciliations that we're doing across multiple systems
Mm-hmm.
that we can do in a much faster way now. And I think, we started with 4 or 5 proof of concepts. I think we went from maybe 10 hours on average to complete some of these activities down to less than 60 minutes with LuminaData's tool. And we validated the accuracy of it. We got very comfortable with the accuracy of it and ran it over and over again. And are now using Lumina data to leverage other areas. Like, for example, in the money movement space, we move a lot of money on behalf of
Mm-hmm.
our property management companies. And there's
Mm-hmm.
essentially a ton of information going from our proprietary systems to processors, to bank processors, then to through the banks, and pulling that
Mm-hmm.
information from multiple data sources into Lumina data, and then being able to reconcile that information in an efficient, fast way has been massively helpful in regards to areas like fintech, managing customers' ledgers, managing money movement activity. That's another area where we're working with Lumina data on. So very excited about the continued leverage that we're going to have in regards to the AI tool and the workbench.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, it continues to surprise me that there are so many real, like, big problems, especially on the reconciliation side. Like, if you would think of it, it seems like such a simple problem, like you're matching things, but there is so much of nuance and still so much of manual work because of disparate systems, different data formats, just the way people work and they change things every time if it's manual. So, is a huge amount of opportunity that just doesn't seem visible from outside. But when you actually like bring in and I think we also had to go through like multiple iterations on how we build our product to make sure that it did fit the requirements of the users. There is a tremendous opportunity there for sure. So I think we talked about the analysts, we talked about adoption. I think I would love to hear your perspective, Mark, from a leadership perspective, right? Like as a chief accounting officer, what is your advice to CFOs and controllers who are starting on their journey? Like, how can they think about the tech, about the team, about their processes? Would love to hear your thoughts there, Mark.
Yeah, I really believe that one of when I talk to companies, whether it was even at Alphabet, at Intuit, even today, large
Mhm.
companies, they haven't embraced AI appropriately. They haven't reached out and taken the leap. And I think, in many cases, the back office function, in some cases, it's either it's under resourced. It may be working very hard with a very few group of people. People get heads down. They get focused on their you know, my job is this, Excel is good enough. And in some cases, they don't step back and start to look at because just how much opportunity is out there. Leaders, whether it's the controller, the chief accounting officer, the CFO, even the chief operating officer, there are so many opportunities where if you embrace the AI capabilities, first of all, get it set up, make sure that you're comfortable with the vendor that you want to use, but then start to identify small opportunities that you think could start to show the capabilities as well as the benefits. Because in many cases, everybody's built on what's my ROI, like what's my benefit that I'm going to get out of this. And I think as a CFO and a leader in the finance space or even in the operation space, you got to start thinking that AI is going to be a tool to use and a tool that you need to embrace, not tomorrow, not wait for it to come, but actually start using it today and start building it in. Need to then continue to drive the change management within the company, which is about how do we start to leverage this tool to build out the skill sets that we really want for the future, which is really around, again, becoming more of a business partner, learning more about the
Mhm.
business, ingesting value into the business, growing revenue, growing customers. That's what we're all here doing at the end of the day. Well, obviously you get the benefits of accuracy, efficiency. You can also solve compliance issues. Controls can be built off of AI capabilities. You think about, RPA being the very nascent piece, moving to the assistance type of AI capability, and then ultimately where AI could actually, you could have an AI person or AI individual running and doing jobs 24 hours a
Mhm.
day. They don't get
Mhm.
tired either. That and also providing and learning it, which is the really additional benefit, is the AI capabilities now learn, not like with RPA where they just doing the same thing over and over. AI capabilities actually learn. You can teach it. It can keep growing. It can keep getting better, which is a huge benefit. I mean, I encourage any of the folks on the call, are with enterprise companies or small companies, whatever it is, if you have the opportunity, lean in, start working with your IT organization, start working with your leaders to start reaching out and taking a bit of a risk, but embrace what AI capabilities are. Go slow, pick certain small areas where you think there could be benefit and see and utilize the tool, see how it works, see how it actually functions. And you'll be amazed how much benefits you can derive from the activities. And it's only going to improve.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, now that you say that, so in that MIT report, one of the things that they were talking about is there is this whole shadow IT where a lot of users are using AI outside the IT's purview, which is like, they use ChatGPT on the side, they use it for their tasks, but they actually don't, do it officially. So that's an interesting thing. I think the demand from people is there. Like they know that we do need to embrace it, but there is a fear, and I think there is a need from the organizations, including the technology teams, to be able to bring in the technology faster and experiment and take the risk too, along with the functional leaders, because I think the CFOs, the functional leaders do want the tech. I think the IT also, I think coming together with the functional teams and bringing in the tech has to be a high priority for everyone. Maybe in smaller steps, not in that big step, like just that small chat GPT step that I type and this answer comes out, like those small steps rather than, this 100 people organization will be replaced with AI agents, and then tomorrow you say, no, 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 we'll hire everyone back because we need people. So something like that, like in steps, urgency to bring the change in steps, which kind of really doesn't bring fear and uncertainty in the organization.
I totally agree. And I think the comment you made on getting your technology team, getting your CIO, hopefully you have a good CIO that's actually embracing AI. And many companies, have this idea that, oh, well, we can use our own AI. There is some truth to that, but I think there are best in breed solutions where you can
Yeah.
move very fast. Well, LuminaData is one of them, where that's why we're going and continuing to invest in LuminaData, because we think there is going to be a significant opportunity as we continue to work through these proof of concepts, as we continue to build. It's only going to kind of be a domino effect in regards to identification of other opportunities. As people start to use the tool, there's credibility, word of mouth generates, and it gets better. We were lucky enough to get our technology team on board with LuminaData, which was great. Everybody was on board. We're utilizing it, even though we use ChatGPT because we're a Microsoft house. Doing what you need to do in specific areas is not going to be solved by just Chat GBT, right? It has
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
something that can connect across multiple technologies. And what I like about Lumina Data, unlike the AI capabilities that are within like Oracle, or that are just app specific, if you think about what a finance person does, they work across multiple applications. They work across multiple data sources. And in order to get a task done, it's not just executing in one solution or one data source, it's multiple. And what Lumina Data is doing for me is they're pulling data from different data sources, from different artifacts, whether it's PDFs, Excel, and we're able to complete a task and execute on a task end to
Hmm.
end using the Gen AI capabilities with Illumina Data. That's a big That's a big thing other than just if you're
Yeah.
trying to use AI within one app or one solution.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of like been the challenge already, that there are already so many silos. You bring something that just solves for one workflow, or just it creates another data silo, is another creating another problem. And with agentic AI, we have the opportunity to integrate across the stack and then bring data together with AI. So yeah, definitely agree, it's a huge opportunity. We're almost at the end of time. See, when you're having a great conversation, time flies. So maybe I have just one last question and then we will open it up for the audience. So, folks in the audience, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. We would love to answer any questions you have. And Mark, a question for you. I think we can end with, like, what is your key takeaway for finance leaders from this conversation?
I think you have to be willing to take a risk
Mhm.
and you have to be open to taking a risk in regards to embracing AI and the
Mhm.
opportunity to use it. And when I say risk, I'm not talking about a reckless risk. I'm talking about an intelligent, logical, educated risk that you can
Mhm.
manage and you can pull. But honestly, like I said, I'm still amazed that when I talk and go talk to other companies and other leaders who are chief accounting officers, CFOs, they still haven't done anything yet in the finance space. It's been, oh yeah, we're talking about it, we're thinking about it. We've Our IT organization doesn't want us to do anything, so we're just gonna, you know, there's nobody pushing it. You gotta be an advocate and you gotta take some risks and promote it. Otherwise, you're just gonna continue to operate in an environment that probably isn't the best, and you won't be able to elevate your skills either.
Yeah, yeah. Your skills of your team and the organization, I think. Yeah, so I think the key takeaway of every conversation is the Nike logo. Just do it. That's
Just
the,
do
yeah,
it.
just do it. So any questions, any thoughts from the folks on the call?
Anybody trying to implement AI today and having problems or issues?
So I think what are the key points and factors when you consider evaluating any AI tool? Could you share some of your criteria on how you evaluate the tool and how do you convince your team or the board to bring these tools on board?
Well, so in we look at the architecture, we look at we have one of the things that was great about the discussion with the Afrozy and Deepti was they were very transparent about how they were building the architecture. We were able to assess it and understand it, feel comfortable from a architecture perspective. I know Afrozy and DP are working on kind of the SOC reporting, which is something that we're also very interested in. And then we talked about the use cases in regards to the type of proof of concepts that we have. And we did do an analysis on the security of the data with Afrozy and DP, got comfortable from within our organization about making sure that our data was protected and we
Mm-hmm.
had protection for the data. All those things that you're asking are very critical. And what I felt comfortable about versus is you have to look at the company because there are many, many different AI startups out there, but you really have to look at digging into understanding the architecture and actually working with the founder or the owners of those particular startups or companies because there isn't one giant AI capable company, right? You can go and have AI capabilities at Oracle, fine, that's okay, but again, that's limited, or any of the major software
Mm-hmm.
companies that are within their app. But if you really want to look at kind of a broad AI capability that you can use, you have to make sure you dig into the architecture and the security and get comfortable with how that application is built, how it's structured, where is the company going? Like if the company's not SOC compliant, are they going to get there? Is the architecture built in a way that you feel like the data will be secure within the walls of that application? And we did
Yeah.
that with LuminaData and got
Mm-hmm.
very comfortable in that space.
Wonderful. Thanks for the answer, Mark. And thanks again for putting your faith and trust in us. Appreciate it a lot. And we've loved working with the team. I think, yeah, I see a lot of thanks from the audience too. So great conversation, Mark. Thanks for sharing your perspective. And we look forward to continuing to work with Real Page and bring in efficiencies and share stories of what we've learned. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Mark.
And if anybody wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn and has any more questions, feel free to do that. I'd be happy to share. I've been working on this for quite a long time, and I do believe, as a finance leader, you really need to embrace it and drive it. You can't just let it happen.
Hmm.
So good luck to everybody out there on their journey.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Great talking. Take care, everyone.
Take
Thank you.
care, everyone.